What's cracking, guys? Omar Isuf here, back with another video. In this video today, I'm talking all about the beginner mistakes made if your quest or your goal is to build size and strength. I'm making this video because 2 months ago I released a Skinny to Swole transformation video where I announced I'd be taking 10 individuals along for 1 year as I coach them through the process of being a beginner as they move on to being an early intermediate. The goal would be size and strength, so to get bigger and stronger. I was not expecting to receive in the first 2 days damn near 1,000 applications. You guys are crazy. I had my boy Matt the Killer Whale sift through all of them, all 1,000, and then narrow it down to 50. From those 50, then I selected 10. You guys will be emailed this week. But I noticed a lot of patterns, good things, a lot of great things, but also some mistakes. That's what this video is about. I do always kind of like to coach people, see what people are doing, because then it allows me to identify the mistakes that they're making. And before I go on, what would I classify as a beginner? Well, a beginner is someone that's had less than 2 years of serious lifting experience. That's what I would say. So we could also use strength metrics to try and analyze if someone's a beginner, but I viewed someone less than 2 years of serious lifting. This means you're in the gym, dedicated, tracking your macros, tracking your progress. So if this applies to you, this video will likely apply, because I saw a lot of the similar mistakes amongst the final 50. And these people were probably more dedicated than your average gym bro, because they wrote out their training logs, what they're eating, form videos. So point number one that I would make, especially if you want to build strength and gain size, would be don't be afraid to gain weight. I've made videos before how I had a terrible bulk. I fucked up, okay? I'm willing to admit it. My first bulk went from 140 pounds to 220 pounds in 8 months. That's terrible. But the more likely scenario I was seeing in the applications, and I think this is just because there's been a lot of good information over the last 5 years, I think kind of that bulk where you just get fat is not as common. What is more common is people not gaining enough weight, and here's what I mean. I was noticing for most people in their first year lifting, they would note they gained 8 pounds, 10 pounds, and that is great. The thing is, your body, especially as a beginner, if you read the literature, can synthesize a hell of a lot of muscle. I'm talking at least 15 pounds, more like 20, even 25 total pounds. And so if you break that down per month, that should be roughly at least 2 pounds of weight gained per month. So 24 pounds is my general recommendation for your first year of lifting. So most of these people were only gaining half of that. And the truth is that a lot of these cats, they had abs, they're lean, they didn't want to lose their abs. Don't be afraid of temporarily losing your abs in the quest to get bigger and stronger. So I'd say not only eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables, but also make sure that you're getting enough calories. If you're a beginner, the first year should be about 24 pounds, and then after that it'll go down something like 18 pounds, so that's about 1.5 pounds per month, and then slowly over time you gain less weight as each year happens. So much so that as a, let's say, late intermediate lifter, I'd classify myself, going into that advanced stage, I would say that my goal for an entire year would just be 10 pounds of body weight. So that's point number one. Point number two, don't be afraid of training volume. These individuals were stress-free. I specified that for the applicants, people that applied for this coaching. This means they didn't have a lot of work stress, life stress, just personal stress happening in their life. They were good, well-adjusted people. This means you can actually push the MRV, your maximum recoverable volume, because training is a stress, and when most programs are created, essentially they take into account all that outside stress. If you don't have that, if everything's rocking, you have a lot of time on your hands, you could push that volume. You could do a little bit more work. The biggest culprit of this would definitely be the bench press for most people, where I noticed they were benching with too little frequency, too little volume. Their total training reps they're doing for the week were like 20 reps. They were doing maybe 3 sets of 5, maybe 30 total training reps was the limit on the bench press. You should bench more like a bro. What does that mean? Well, the bench press and the muscles are smaller. I think they can recover faster. I think also if you take a look, I know my boy Greg Knuckles posted about this, the correlation between the size, the total amount of muscle mass of a lifter, and then their strength. I think it was the IPF he measured. It went, the squat had the strongest correlation, then the bench press closely, and then the deadlift not as much. What does that mean? Well, I think it means, once again, you could push that bench volume, especially if you want to get bigger and stronger. Don't be afraid of doing more reps, between 30 to 60 total training reps per week. This means bench pressing at least 2 to 3 times per week. Next thing that I want to say, so we talked a little bit about nutrition, making sure you're eating enough, not being afraid of losing abs, and 2, making sure to push the volume. The third big point I'd say is don't get too attached to one movement. So let's say everyone thinks squat, bench, deadlift, and that is totally true. You need to build that foundation for yourself. You need to learn the proper movements. But even on the squat, let's say for you just think high bar squats look super aesthetic. They just look great for you. You like Olympic lifters. You think, damn, I want to squat like that. But maybe you got super long femurs and it's just not working for you, but you're super stubborn and you want to do the high bar squat. Don't do it, dude. Try the low bar. See how it feels for yourself. At the same time, for people like me who have noticed that the low bar squat, when I do it frequently enough, what tends to happen, my SI, my lower back gets a little irritated. If that's you and it just doesn't feel right and you've tried this often enough, do the high bar squat. I noticed that. I think about 20% of the people that fill the applications would note something about one of the lifts. So even the conventional deadlift, I do believe everyone should learn how to do, as the Russians call it, the classic deadlift or conventional deadlift. But that doesn't mean you need to stick with it. Even as a beginner, you could transition. If sumo feels naturally more intuitive, comfortable, and that's just kind of your lift, don't be afraid to switch over earlier on. Same idea when it comes to the bench press. I do think as a beginner you should stick to the bench press, but let's just say again, if things are feeling weird or maybe you're just feeling way too much recruitment because for your first year you trained only your arms, just in your arms when you bench press, consider changing it up a little bit, widening your grip, trying out a different variation as your main movement. That's probably the biggest takeaway I took from the man himself, Coach Alberto Nunez, when he designed that bodybuilding program that we released. Don't get married to just one lift. You don't have to squat, bench, and deadlift. You can try variations, and if those feel really weird, we could talk about other alternatives, but don't just think, oh, conventional deadlift, or a low bar squat, or a high bar squat, or even just the classic bench press. Well, guys, that's all I really wanted to say. 3 major mistakes I noticed and pretty much all the applications when I was taking a look at them. If your goal is to build size and strength, if you like this video, thank you so much for watching the video. Like the damn video. What the hell are you waiting for? And I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.